Hi, this is Derek with Schenko Roofing. The day is August 21st. The time is 11:09 a.m. We're here at the Roger Burnett residence here at 10525 Dickens Way in Ellicott City, Maryland. We're here today because the carrier Allstate has approved approximately 20 or so shingles for replacement on the roof. And we're here today to do one of those individual shingle replacements to see if it's repairable. I'm going to switch to the view. So we're here on the front slope on the left elevation, or the left side of the house. There's a variety of shingles that are missing on the roof. You can see a couple that are broken off from up there. But we're here on the back slope where we've got a couple of shingles that were also came off as part of the count. And so this shingle right here is what we're going to be replacing today. So this is our test area, and you can see here the National Academy of Forensic Engineers recognizes 5 potential failures for an individual shingle replacement. They are creasing, tearing, material transfer, delamination, and granular loss. Delamination is not applicable here because this is a 3-tab shingle, not an architectural. And so if any of these 4 failures occur during the course of the replacement, we will point those out. And this is our control area over here. Doesn't have any failures on it. It's nice and clean surface area. So we'll get started. Here's the 3-tab shingle we're going to be replacing it with. And these are the tools I'll be using. This is an AJC hatchet hammer. You notice it's got a straight edge so that when you're hammering the nails in, you have to do it directly perpendicular into the roof. And this flat head allows you to know when you've pulled the shingle back enough, so we're not excessively pulling them back to accommodate the perpendicular strike in the nail. So AJC hatchet hammer is what we have. And then I also have an industry approved pry bar with a low profile wedge. And so with all that having been said, I'm going to get started. I'm going to put my hammer right here so it doesn't fall off the roof. And I'm by myself here today. So I got my tripod and my pitch hopper, and so I'm gonna set this up so hopefully you have a good angle of the repair here. That should do it right about. I think that's good. Yeah, okay. So I'll get started. There's probably about, I didn't look at the loss statement, I think it's about 20, but it's probably at least a couple more on this back slope. The other thing is that this is the, this particular slope's a 412, so just for like safety and OSHA reasons, we're going to do it on this one since it already has some missing shingles. So this is the shingle we're going to replace. We're going to take out the lower course of nails and then the upper course of nails. So I'm going to get started on breaking the shingles for this replacement shingle right here that we're going to do. Okay, so yeah, this is the whole tab. I'm going to start by breaking the seals on this. See, I'm being very delicate, gingerly, So what happened just here is a little bit of material transfer. I'm going to grab the camera, but there's 2 places where a big chunk of aggregate has pulled away from these shingles. Let me get the camera up close. So you can see right here that there's big chunks of aggregate on the bottom of this shingle that were pulled away. When we keep in mind, this is the replacement shingle. This shingle's staying, but what that means is this shingle's never going to properly reseal because of the material transfer that just occurred when we were breaking the seals to access the nails to remove for this shingle. So I'll keep going, but I wanted to point that out of what material transfer looks like and why forensic engineers recognizes it as a failure, because it'll never properly reseal, and any repair that impedes the water shedding performance of the roof is not code compliant. Okay, so we got this tab open. Need to get this one. Oh yeah, I'm not even going to pull this all the way back, but you can see here this material transfer right here, this little piece. So anyway, just another example of material transferring when we try to break these seals. I'm not going to do this for every single failure, but it's important that we maintain an uncut, uninterrupted video here. So I've broken the seals on these. Got that. I'm not going to pull that past the J channel. So I'll go ahead and do these. Yeah. You can see I'm being really ginger with it, but again, a lot of material transfer happening. This big chunk of aggregate right here. Let me get the rest of these. Yeah, here's another one. It's really, see, the thing is that the adhesive on the bottom of these shingles is still really well bonded. And so even with like a low profile, industry approved pry bar, yeah, you're still getting a lot of this. So again, just another example. That's right there is a big piece of this shingle right here that pulled away when I was separating the seals. So far, a lot of material transfer happening, but we'll wait till we get the shingle in and do a summary of the whole thing. All right, so we got these tabs open. Here's the last one. Really ginger here. Yep, you can see it again. Yeah, right there. Bunch of this aggregate. Anyway. Okay, so we got those open. Now let's get the nails out. So we'll start with this guy. Oh, the tab is here. Right. Yeah, okay. All right, so we got the nail there. Again, you can see I'm not being overly violent or overly zealous with getting these nails out. I'm just applying the minimum amount of pressure and torque in a controlled manner to pop these. Is that a tear? Yeah, it's a little tear that just happened. So right here, this nail head right here pulled all the way through. Getting close. So that nail right there, the shingle, anyway, it pulled right through. There's a big tear right behind that nail head, behind it right here. So nevertheless, I will keep going and try to get this shingle out without doing too much more damage. All right, so I got that one out. Got that one out, no tearing there. Yeah, another nail head pulled through on that one. So that's a pretty big hole there. My finger's showing through. All right, so yeah, typically I don't like to work this close to doing to the building, to doing a shingle repair, because now I kind of have to manipulate the J channel on the siding to get the rest of the shingle out. So I think what I'm going to do here is try to preserve the J channel and the step flashings, because if I start doing that, this is going to get really invasive. But I think I've brought the point home here on just a couple of the failures that are happening. So what I may do here is just cut this tab and just replace the actual tab right here instead of the entire shingle, because I just don't want to do more damage to the building than is necessary. So let me do that. All right, so I pulled off one of the tabs. What I'm gonna do is, and the only reason I'm just finishing the repair is so that to simulate a full shingle replacement, I wanna see if make sure there's no other creasing or granular loss that's occurring to the shingle. So what I'm gonna do here is cut this guy away. Yeah, there we go. So tabs out. And again, just to keep it so the roof is least vulnerable. Oh yeah, the other thing that just happened here, I'm taking this shingle out, and this wasn't from the knife cut either because it's in the center, but you can see that the underlayment is now torn. So per IRC, what is that, 803.5, I think it is. This, the 3-foot section of this ice and water needs to be, or excuse me, underlayment needs to be replaced. So what that means is this course, the underlayment runs left to right. And so if we're going to replace the underlayment here, we would need to probably take out at least these 2 courses to address the tearing of the underlayment. So that's another example of tearing, not to the shingles necessarily, but to the accessory components of the roof. All right, so let's wrap this up. Let me grab my hammer and we'll get this shingle back in place, and then we'll do the rest of our repair. So that's lined up, keyways and the strike zone. So I'll grab my hammer here, and then we'll conclude the video. So 1 tab, I think 4 nails ought to do it. 2 in the lower and 2 in the upper. So again, we want to get this right in the strike zone. One. And then here, again, directly in the strike zone. You'll notice I'm not pulling the shingle back any more than it needs to be. I can't come at the, the thing like this or like this. It's got to be perpendicular, so that's why we use this straight edge. So the lower course of nails for the tab replacement is in place, and now I'm gonna do the top course, and then the last nail. All right, shingles in. A couple things I want to point out. So obviously we documented the material transfer and the tearing that occurred on some of these nails that pulled through. You can see, like, for example, these holes right here, right there, they're really large from when the asphalt pulled right through. So that's a little bit tearing there. The other thing I want to point out is the granular loss that's happening here. So when I simulate like a rainstorm with my hands, you'll see that the granulars, they just fall right off. You can actually see them because of the tab colors a little bit darker, but these are just washing right off. And so, but when I go to the control area and do the same thing, you'll notice that it's not nearly as bad. Yes, there is a little bit coming off, but not nearly to the extent that the repaired area is coming off. And then lastly is the no, that's it. I think we hit it all. So just to wrap up the video here, on this we have creasing, yes. Tearing, yes. Definitely material transfer, yes. And definitely granular loss, yes. So this would be considered, yes. So 4 out of the 5 failures here have occurred. And also you can see here there's creasing. I hit yes on creasing because I noticed this when I was looking at it. You got a big crease that's developed right across the top, particularly of these. My chalk kind of hides the others. They're probably to a lesser extent, but these two certainly have it. So anyway, that'll conclude the video. Based on all of the failures that occurred, this is definitely a fail. One last thing I want to point out is that the gutter covers on this particular house are the premium grade gutter helmets. The flange comes up like 12 inches. You can see in between the keyways of the shingle that it comes all the way up and is nailed directly to. So notwithstanding if there's any damage on them, they'll have to be detached and reset to accommodate it. Any repairs to the roof. All right, all that having been said, you can give me a call at 202-302-1990 if you have any questions. And again, my name is Derek with, I appreciate the opportunity to go over the whole thing here. And if you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call. Thank you. Bye-bye.